We're going to be soaking the hide that we just smoked, and to rehydrate it we have some warm water. We start out with hot water in here and we'll make it warm with the colder water, and then as the hide softens we'll just keep working it down into the water. Once it's able to be more folded up, we'll put the Fells Naphtha soap water in and have less water than a full trash can. But we're going to start right now just getting the hide hydrated so it can be flexible. If you just fold the hide in half and try and jam it in, it'll crack it, and that's not very good for it. So it took about 3 hours for the hide to get soft enough to get it all the way into the trash can or the barrel. And we had the barrel like totally full of water. I dumped out that water and then filled it with warm, about 15 gallons of warm Fells Naphtha soapy water, and then submerged the hide in it and put the bricks on top to keep the hide fully submerged. And so it's been soaking for about 9.5 hours in the Fells Naphtha solution. So the next step is to remove the weights, and then we're going to put the hide in a sled and take it over to where we have the wringing station set up. We're going to wring it out. Spray it off with the hose too, just to get a little bit of that soap off the surface of it. So we are going to start by wrapping the moose, one end of the moose hide around the pole, and it's kind of like folding a burrito where one end comes up over the pole and then you fold the two outside edges over that, and then we're going to twist that and that'll lock it into place. We might use some rope to just hold it since there's two of us. This might be easier with like 4 people, so there's people holding the hide off the ground, but we're going to see how it goes with 2. And then we'll do the same thing on the pole end, and then we'll start twisting, and then we'll stake out the twisting pole and just let it be stretched until it stops dripping. And then we should fold in like that, and then fold like that.
Oh, just the end? Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
So this rope we're using right now is really just to hold the hide in place since there's just 2 of us and we only have 4 hands. So we were at a restaurant and Charlie grabbed the cloth napkin and a butter knife and showed us how to do this at the table over dinner. So that's held in place. So we're going to fold the piece that Melissa's holding over and then take these outer flaps and kind of fold it over that way and then start twisting. This goes over first, yeah. And then that goes over, and this to go over. That. And then I'm just gonna go over. This will have a lot less water in it than what we showed the first time back in September because it's only been soaking for like 10 hours. So this is really to show the folding style of it. The other thing that this is doing is it's stretching the hide and opening up kind of the pores of it where it's working the Fells Naphtha deeper into the hide and stretching and pulling and twisting it. So what we'll do, we should untwist it a little bit because that's a little too tight for staking it. So what we're doing now is we have the hide wrung, and what we want to do is stake the hide to where it's just going to stay in that wrung out position until it stops dripping, and then we would unstake it, twist the other direction, and do the same thing. Jeanie was talking yesterday about leave it for an hour until it stops dripping. It could take longer, and what we're doing now is having the pole at an angle and pounding it in, and then what we could do is tie a rope here and then pull it down and stake out that way. So we were talking with Jeanie yesterday and she said do it to the right once, let it set for an hour or more, do it to the left, let it set for an hour or more, to do it maybe about 4 times, like twice on each side. And there's not really a magic number of what to do with it. It's more until it stops dripping, and she really emphasized until it's not dripping anymore. Get as much water out when you're wringing it as possible, And that saves a lot of time when you go to start scraping it, because you have to work the hide till all the water's out. So getting as much water out this way saves you hours of scraping with a bindasi. So we've wrung the hide out and we've draped it over the log now. We can see that this is stretchy now. So that's gotten a lot of, the wringing really helped stretch the hide and open it up more. So the next step that we're gonna do is start scraping with the bindasi. And Charlie was talking about the height of this is really helpful for, if you have it too high, then you can't put your body weight if you're scraping up here like this. It's just the strength of your arm. But if you have it lower like this, you can really put your whole upper body weight into it. Doing something like this, you can see I'm making marks in the hide, but I'm not really giving it a lot of pressure because my shoulder is above my chest. If I start like this where I'm holding and I might start up here and just let it glide, and then where I'm really applying the pressure is down here more towards my waist. So I do start up high and I kind of get the momentum going, and then I kind of jam it lower and give that pressure. And then you can pull the hide more this way and then keep working the hide to bring it down. And this hide needed to be scraped a little bit more, and you can see how the stuff's already starting to come off. This is just, it's a rock that I found in the driveway from where my parents were excavating their foundation. And I was like, ooh, that's the right size for my hand. And it has striations that are kind of open and jagged, so that'll be nice for scraping. It's not quite the same grade of rock as like really good bindasi that you can like shape and you can put into a handle or something. I look for one that fit my hand. So you can do this by yourself when you're doing the scraping, and it's helpful if you have somebody on the other side. It's just going to be faster if you have somebody over there. You'll achieve the same thing by yourself as you would with somebody else. So this hide has been scraped on both sides, washed a lot, and then we wrung it out, framed it up with the rope on a stretcher frame till it dried as rawhide, and then we smoked it for 2 hours yesterday with a really heavy smoke in the smoking hut, and then put it in the Fells naphtha soap overnight. And now we wrung it out, and we're working at just kind of scraping the surface of it a little bit more to open up the skin. Right now, when I go to scrape this, the rock is just having a hard time even getting the surface of that to look the same way. I would try to scrape the whole thing maybe for an hour just to kind of clean it up and open up the pores more, put it back in the soap solution, and then do that for about 4 days to a week. Depends on the thickness of the hide. This one might only need like 4 or 5 days because it's a thinner hide. So the Fells naphtha soap is trying to achieve the same things that a fermented brain would do. It has a pH differential, and it has ions in it like sodium, potassium, and magnesium, and your brain has those same things in it. Soap has like glycerin and fat in it, and a brain has fat in it, and it has those ions, and it has an acid. So you're kind of achieving the same things with soap. And what I'll sometimes do is add a liquid oil like olive oil to the Fells naphtha and egg yolks to it. And the egg yolk is an emulsifier, and it's like a recipe for synthetic brains. It's not quite doing the same thing as the acids that occur in a fermented brain, but the lye, like Charlie was talking about, that attacks those similarly as the acids in the brain does. And then when you add the oil to it, you add more fat, like the brain is fatty. Yeah. We would wring it out really, really well, and then till it stops dripping water, and then work at what we're doing right now, where it's just that scraping, agitating, taking it and working the hide where we're twisting it like that until it's completely dry and soft and flexible like chamois. Then it's ready for its final smoking for the color. And that's where you'd put it into a smokehouse, possibly like we did yesterday, where it's flat over the top. It could be a smoking hut that's domed. It could be like teepee shape. All those different smoking methods that we've been talking about. That would be the finishing smoke stage for it.